The $1 million question people are wondering: how to overcome the fear to love? How can I stop being afraid to love? How can I remain open to the thing I desire most, to receive what I desire most? The short answer to that is to overcome self and being open and receptive to communication early on. I'm sure that sounds super generic and vague, and I'm right there with you. I dislike vague answers because it doesn't give you much to go off of. But hang in there and we can dive a bit deeper into it. And I hope you can find something of value in here. To overcome the self is to be the conscious controller of my own self versus allowing my subconscious thoughts and patterns to take the driver's seat. As we know, studies shows that we humans are only conscious of 5% of our cognitive function. So most of our decisions, actions, emotions, and behaviors depends on the 95% of brain function that goes beyond our conscious awareness, meaning it goes unnoticed to us, in which we predominantly live on autopilot with our subconscious mind being in the driver's seat. To overcome self is to get out of our own way, overcome and triumph over what sets you back in love, working through your patterns, understanding your motives, understanding the reasons behind why you do certain things, why you act in certain behaviors. When we observe ourselves, we start to recognize how we can admit that we act irrationally at times, and what lead us to act in those irrational ways. Understanding your triggers and your pain points to better gauge if these pain points were things that were already there due to my past and it is now resurfacing because I have not fully dealt with it prior, or is this something that my partner or love interest is specifically doing towards me, or am I just perceiving the doing because of my previous experiences? So when I say overcoming self, I mean a lot of self-reflection, a lot of cultivating a deeper relationship with your own self, as if you are looking at yourself and meeting yourself for the first time. Become that true friend to yourself, being curious and asking inquiry questions to yourself. Because most people towards the path to love get in our own way. We are our own worst enemy when it comes to love. We have a tendency to self-sabotage ourselves, sometimes before all the good stuff that comes with love starts. Because our experiences is what shapes our patterns, our behaviors, our beliefs, and our perception on things. All of this data upon our own lives is stored into the subconscious mind like a memory bank. And we as humans forget what's in there, not realizing that this memory bank is running the show most of the time, as we sit back and watch our desires crumble in front of our eyes. And we are just clueless on where to even start. Have you ever experienced a new love opportunity with someone you've met, and to start, everything is just naturally going smoothly and flowing nicely? And as we get to know each other more and more, we see great potential in the other and a great potential partner. And then it's like your whole being just freezes and shuts down, as if it's saying, oh no, here we go again. This is what happened last time. I remember this. I remember this feeling. Everything was going so perfectly, and then it goes downhill. That's when your mind automatically goes into your memory bank and start comparing and contrasting to your previous experiences and saying, according to the data, this is what usually happens. This is the analysis paralysis that may get triggered. And in this situation, it's usually triggered because feelings or the possibility of it are starting to develop. Take a moment to look back if you ever encountered that type of experience. It's almost as if in these moments, we succumb to self-sabotage because that's our auto mechanism of, yep, this is when the bad things start to happen. so I might as well go along with this pattern of behavior of mine and beat it to the punch before the actual real pain starts. If that resonates and you do start to do that, or if you start to overthink, instead of running on the autopilot mechanism, which is usually in a reactive form, and creating scenarios or stories we don't know is true, take a step back. Take a step back from the connection and reflect and take time to avoid the unnecessary self-sabotaging habits. And if this connection is important to you, let them know and be transparent that you need to step back a bit. Because keep in mind, everyone has their own memory bank, and they too are mostly running on autopilot on their own patterns. This way you can see early on if it's something they can understand, and that way the connection will be salvageable if you wish to continue, instead of destroying a great potential connection before it even starts. It first starts with you, because you can't steer a connection with another if you're not clear with yourself. If you cannot define what baggage you may be bringing and what baggage the other is bringing, there will be no start in the connection. Own your own stuff and allow the other to own their stuff. Identify what's yours and what's theirs. If the lines are blurred and you can't identify the issues you are bringing, this may lead to a shift in blame and blaming the other for your issues. You can't have a relationship with another without having a relationship with yourself. And I'm referring to a genuine relationship, not a superficial one, and that's not the topic we're discussing here. Remember, I mentioned to overcome self, you'll need a lot of self-reflection. To accomplish self-reflection in this modern world, you may have to sacrifice a lot of things in order to have that dedication and time for yourself. As most people in the modern age live busy schedules with not the most free time. So get clear on what you do with your free time to achieve your desired results. The goal of that is to have a better relationship with yourself, to get so good in identifying and recognizing the trigger points and pain points and identify it before it happens so that you can counter-react and establish and create new patterns of behaviors. This is the key so that you can start creating new and better memories, patterns, behaviors, and experiences into your memory bank, in your subconscious mind. Almost to the point as if you're writing over and canceling the bad experience and creating a new template for yourself. That is how growth actually works. Once you have a good grip on that, the next thing to be aware of is your quality of communication in your relationships or any new potential love interests. Be upfront, honest, transparent, and open from the beginning. If you have fears in regards to love or the journey towards love, be willing to express that early on. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Don't buy into the old beliefs of what a woman or a man needs to be, especially if it's not something that will be compatible to you. The thing is, sometimes it's not the actual love that we fear. It's the actual rejection that we fear. Whether that rejection is an actual no, or if the rejection we fear is actually someone misunderstanding us, or not accepting us, or willing to understand us in the place we are now, and the fears we may hold. Because beneath that, we worry and wonder that this person may not be able to hold space for me in the way I need it. Therefore, I'm not going to express myself in order to keep what I think we have now and not ruining it. Many times people sabotage themselves by saying, oh, this person wouldn't understand or get it. Or if I express my fear, they will see me as weak and want nothing to do with me. Or they will think less of me or think I'm not the person that they actually thought. It is thoughts like these that hold us back and ruin our chance at love. Because we really can't predict how someone else will respond or choose to act. so we shouldn't choose for them. It does nobody any good. It gives no value to anyone when we do that. So that's what we mostly fear, is someone not understanding us and accepting us. It's not love itself that we tend to fear. Which is why open communication is important. And if you cannot have that to start, you are already setting yourself up for failure from the start, and the relationship will break down at some point. And then that will continue to feed into your negative beliefs about love because it didn't work out again. And yes, it's valid that the person may not accept you or may not understand you, your fears or your past and your experience prior. But in the name of love, and if love is involved, it's better to know now in the beginning if someone is truly the right person to accept you as you are and understand you. Because then that's something you can nurture together. Instead of not being open and transparent about how you feel, what you fear, and your shortcomings, because then that breeds for an opportunity to surprise you later on down the line, that you've been connecting with someone who doesn't have the capacity to hold that space for you. And most likely, feelings already have developed and mature in this stage. Because communication will build up and create the connection within the relationship that you have. When you start and move forward from the beginning correctly in love this way, it creates less harm, less damage for both parties. So if it's not a perfect fit, you'll be able to move forward amicably versus creating another trauma to heal from, in which will allow more fear towards love and breeds more negative beliefs surrounding love into your memory bank. And the cycle continues, and we recycle same experiences over and over to affirm what we believe to be true. And accept that in the matters of love, there's always risk involved, whether that risk is small or big. But when you move forward towards love in the right way, the right mindset, the right attitude, the risk will feel smaller. It will feel smaller because you are taking the correct steps and precautions to avoid less hurt for both parties. And know that communication will be your biggest friend in creating and building an intimate relationship. I hope this message resonates for someone out there. Thanks for listening and receiving this message. Please take what you need, let go of the rest. If you have enjoyed this content and it resonates, please support in any way you can. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And I wish for all to find what they're seeking.